We'll begin in a seated position, so maybe cross-legged. If you have, Emer, if you have a belt nearby, grab that. We'll do our hamstring stretch. So anything that you can use as a belt. So just have something that you can take around your foot to hamstring stretch. And then we'll sit tall and we'll relax our shoulders back and down. And today's class is about the hips. So we're focusing on the hips while bringing in everything else that we've learned this term: core, side stretching, thoracic extension, shoulders. Everything comes into it, but with the specific focus on the hips. So feel your hips right now as you settle into your seat. Make sure you're sitting right up on your sit bones, and this is the most important thing to take away, I think, always. Our seated posture relies really, a correct seated posture relies on us being on our sit bones, so that we don't overload the lumbar spine, the base of the spine. Now relax your glutes, relax the hips as much as you can. There'll be a certain amount of tension required to maintain the position that you're in. So take a moment to see if you can decipher the difference between the tension required and the tension that is not required, that you can let go. Your legs, your feet, and also your back and your shoulders, your face, your jaw, your forehead. And as you come to your breath, just start to notice a further settling into your seat with each exhale. You're landing down into that seated position a little bit more. And with each inhale, a lift and expansion, a lengthening. But allowing it to be as fluid and as natural as possible at this point anyway. Just watching the natural rhythm of your breath, becoming familiar with it, aware of it. And then we'll start to bring our breath into balance. So I'll begin by counting with you, and then I'll let you count your own rhythm to suit yourself better. So let's breathe in together now for 1, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 3, 4, out, 2, 3. We'll go to 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out, 2, 3, 4. And continue in your own. You may feel the need to go further in the count or to putting it back. So just be comfortable in whatever you're doing. If you notice a pause happening between breaths, count that in or just allow it to be. And now just let your count go and take a pause, take a moment to just feel and notice how you're feeling and see if there's any difference between having spent a little time just sitting with your breath. If there's any difference between how you feel before you started and now that you've done your pranayama. And remember that you can come into a quiet place at any time, and it's a good idea to do this if you know, at least once a day. Spend some time with your breath, with any of the breathing techniques or exercises that you've done. But just a simple equal measure breath is a nice way to bring yourself into balance. Okay, let's move on to our backs. So unravel yourself, unfurl onto your back, bend your knees, and bring your feet in towards you a little. Then we're just going to start to focus on the pelvis. So when we're talking about our hips, it's, you know, the whole pelvic area really, and the joint of the legs into the hip socket into the pelvis. So, and all the muscles that connect to that, the muscles that connect in there from the lower back, all the muscles of the glutes, so the sides and the center of the glute, and all of the inner thigh muscles into everything that connects basically in along this. And hamstrings, there's a lot of muscle and tissue that we're talking about. So we are going to just start by rocking the pelvis. So pressing down to your tail and noticing when you press down right onto your tailbone that your lumbar spine arches away from the floor more. And then as you rock back over your sacrum, tilting your pelvis back. So the top of, think of your pelvis as a cup. You're tilting the cup backwards to the floor, and then your lumbar spine flattens in against the floor. So the lower back flattens in. And there's a natural curve there. So when you bring yourself to a neutral position, there's a gentle lifting away. And it depends on your own skeleton, of course. But there's generally an arch in the lower back. So when you're in a neutral position, and if you would like, you can place your hands at the kind of heel of your hands at your front hip bones and press your fingers down towards your pubic bone. You can feel that neutral position when your hand flattens, and then you feel that lumbar curve. And then as you roll back to your pelvis, you can feel that flattening and your fingertips lifting. And then as you press down into your tailbone, you feel your fingertips descending, the heels of your hands lifting slightly, perhaps. Just a few more times, and I want you to become aware of your pelvic floor now. Start to engage the pelvic floor. Inhale as you roll into your lower back, lifting your pubic bone. Exhale, pressing the pubic bone, tailbone down towards the floor. Lumbar spine arching a bit more. So just a couple more times just to kind of get connected with that sensation and really engaging pelvic floor and lower belly. Okay. We're going to pick up our feet. So bring your hands onto your knees, and already you'll probably feel kind of pelvis coming towards neutral, but maybe into a posterior tilt so that your lower back presses more into the mat. So see if you can get yourself into as neutral a position as you can. And then we'll start by bringing the knees into the chest. So you'll feel your lower back flattening and opening the knees out to the sides. Bringing them forward, and you'll feel yourself rolling towards your tailbone, tightening your tummy here. And bring the knees back in towards the chest. Out, open, forward, together, to chest. And keep circling. Do 3 more like that. Engage your core. Open, forward. Keep the feet lifting again. Chest. 1 more. Together and in. Let's change direction. So away and out and in toward the armpits and into the belly. Forward, out, in, and to the belly. So when I move away, I just let my hands kind of just gently brush off my knees so that I can go a little bit deeper, a little bit further. But see how far you can go without it being a strain on your back. In and out and in and together. Now let's just try and stack the knees up again right over the hips. Find that kind of neutral position. So for me, I'm kind of just balancing on my sacrum. Let's try and do that without any movement into the lower back. So try and maintain that just gentle, natural arch, not overly arching and not flattening. So keep the core strong and try and move. So we're going to start with knees to chest actually. Out, forward, together. And it'll mean probably that your circles are smaller, but we're just bringing awareness into that kind of hip stabilization without bringing in and working the back too much. We're isolating the area. Let's change direction. Forward, out to the armpits, and 1 more. And release. Let's bring your feet to the ground. Grab your belt or your strap or your pair of tights or whatever it is you're using. Take it around the right foot. Let's stretch up. And again, we want to try and keep the pelvis in its neutral position. So again, you should be able to slide your hand down in under your lower back a little bit. Let's see if you can stretch out the left leg without changing that arch in the back. Relax your shoulders. See if you can walk your hands up further. Engage the core, stretch into the heels, straighten the leg. Feel the quads engaging again to draw the kneecap up into the quad. And then we'll take the belt into the right hand. Engage the core, maybe place your left hand on your left front hip bone. And open out to the right, just as far as you can, without hitting some furniture or a door, like I have. When you get this far, so wiggle over. And then inhaling to come up. So you can feel that stretch into the inner part of the thigh and into the groin where the leg meets the hip. And then we're going to take our belt into our left hand, draw the leg across the body, so across the midline. So you feel the stretch into the outer hip. So we can try and keep our sacrum on the mat. Let's stretch over as much as possible to get that stretch. It's not so easy to get a stretch into the outer hip. This is one good way of doing it. And inhale to come up. Okay, so let's remove the belt. Bend your left knee.
Place your right foot on the front of your left thigh, the outside edge, baby toe edge of your right foot resting on the thigh. Push the knee away from you with your right hand. The right knee away from you with the right hand. So you're opening into the front of the hip here, flexor. And then we're going to see if that feels enough for you, stay here. If you can pick up your left leg, find, see if you can interlace your hands maybe around the thigh. Or again, you can use your belt if that's hard to reach, without flattening the lower back or arching it too much. You can always use your belt to kind of give you that extra space. See if you can maintain that kind of level pelvis. Keep that right foot flexed to protect your knee. Also work into the hip a little bit deeper. Just take a few more breaths here. Nice even breaths. Okay, now we'll release and let the left foot come to the ground. Unhook the right foot. Stretch out the right leg. Stretch out the left leg and take a moment to pause and feel. Notice how the right leg feels in comparison to the left leg or the left hip, the right hip. And then we'll take our belts again and we'll go to the other side. So I've got a hook in mine, actually I'm going to use it right now. So we're going to stretch up through the left leg. And again, if you like to start with the right knee bent and the foot on the mat, that can be a nice way to ease in. Stretch up. Then see about straightening out the right leg if that feels like it's going to work for you. And if it doesn't, you know what to do. You pull back and readjust. Extending into the heel to stretch and lengthen through the back of that left leg now. Just give it some time. Okay, taking your belt into the left hand, opening out to the left. Strong. Feel that rotation in the leg at the hips. You might feel you need to kind of externally rotate a little bit so the toes point up in the same direction as your head, let's say. And then inhaling to come up to center, strong core as you lift. And then take the belt over into the right hand, cross the leg over, but keep your sacrum on the mat. So that big hunk of bone, the top of your pelvis, base of your spine. And then gently, when you feel you've got that stretched out, come back up. Remove the belt. We're done with that now. Opening into the chest, maybe just bend your right knee. Place your left foot on the right thigh. Press your left knee away. This really is a good stretch into the hips, especially if you've got any kind of sciatic nerve issues or tight glutes. This can be a good one for that. And most physios recommend this stretch. So let's take our hands around the thigh. You need to listen. I just lifted my head up there just to get a comfortable reach around the thigh. This this hip is a little tighter for me, and inner hamstring actually a little tighter here. So it just gave me that extra comfortable reach around the leg, and then I can replace my head back onto the ground. If you need to have a little support under your head, that's okay. Relax the shoulders, relax the face, and just see if you can maintain that kind of sense of pressing the knee away from you as you bring your foot in. flex the foot. So kind of press into the heel, draw the toes back. Just relax into that stretch a little bit more. So if you've got your pelvis neutral as well. And then gently release your hands, let the right foot come to the ground. Unhook your left. Stretch out the legs. And take a pause. Now next we're going to make our way up to all fours. So maybe you'll roll to the side and press yourself up. Maybe you'll rock up and onto all fours. So let's spread out the fingers, bring the wrists right under the shoulders, knees under the hips. And we've been lying flat on our back for a while, so let's really allow that pelvis to make its movement. So with your awareness now, we do our cat-cow most sessions, because I really like it. And it's safe for everyone, and it's accessible to everyone, so it's a nice one to include as a little way of just getting some movement in the back, especially if you've been lying flat. But focus your attention on the pelvis today. Let the movement come from the pelvis. So on your inhale, start to lift your tail. As you tilt the pelvis forward, feel your back arching as we did when we were the other way around. So you feel it here as well. So same movement. And we'll just draw our chest through our arms, shoulders back and down, and look up. And then change the tilt of the pelvis. Start to drop your tail. And again, feel that rippling from the pelvis all the way up through the spine. And you can bring your chin towards your chest to bring that rainbow arc into the whole back. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the tail, lift the head. Exhale, drop the tail, arch up the back, round it out, drop the head. Inhale. One more time. And exhale into your back stretch. Okay, we're going to gently rock back towards child's pose and then forward. Bring the shoulders forward of the wrist. Just stretch out the wrist a little bit. Back and forward. Exhale. Inhale. Inhale. Now circle around the knees. So as you're on the knees, the hips are circling over the knees. And then also what you might do is start to bring in the kind of arching and rounding of the back as you go. So as you come back, you might drop your belly, lift your tail. As you come out to the side, you might start to round out the back. Come forward. And then change direction and go back the other way. Careful not to hunch your shoulders, so keep them nice and stable on the back as we've discussed before. And back to center. Now walk your hands out in front of you a little. This is the dreaded, maybe walk your knees back slightly. The dreaded kind of plank position, so start to lower your hips enough to create a plank shape. And you can tuck your toes. Hold it here without letting the hips sink. So when you let the hips sink, you're coming into back extension, back arching. So we'll try and avoid that. Just build strength in the core, build strength in the arms. And then on your exhale, let's lower down a little. And inhale, push back up. So little press ups now. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, last one. And this time we're actually going to lower ourselves all the way to the ground, but stopping in a kind of chaturanga position. So hold here, halfway. 3, 2, 1, and lower. How is that? You okay? So we're going to take our arms in front, so towards the corners of your mat, so ahead of your shoulders and out wider than your shoulders with your hands today. Bring myself back a little bit more. So we're going to kind of flow up and down into a little cobra variation. Inhale, press into your fingertips, lift up. Drop the shoulders. Exhale, down. Inhale, press up. Exhale, come down. Inhale, up. Exhale, down. One more. Inhale up. Don't clench the buttocks. Exhale down. Back up to the tabletop position. So tighten in your belly, push up with a straight back if you can, and then we'll walk our knees and hands back into tabletop. Okay. So we're going to now work into the hips a little bit more. So I'm going to get you to take the weight onto your left knee. Press firmly down through both hands. Tighten your tummy and lift your right leg up. Then we're going to open the knee out to the side. So see if you can lift it up as high as you can. This is great for building strength in the outer glutes. Lift up. Come forward towards your elbow. Bring it in towards the chest. And then back out. Now what we want to try and do is not sink over onto the left hip too much. So try and keep your hips level. Lift up. Stretch out to the side. Bring your knee towards your elbow. Bring it towards your chest. Stretch back. Side. Elbow. Chest. Back and up. Okay, let's do 2 more of those this direction. And back, so you're trying to get full kind of rotation at the hip. And you can make it more fluid now. You know where you're going. Conscious. And change direction. So back to the chest, towards the elbow, out to the side, and back. In, out, up, back. One more. And this time, bringing your knee forward, see if you can step your foot to the outside of your right foot. And if it doesn't make it all the way, don't worry. Just grab it, help it along. Turn the toes out a little bit. See if you can slide your left knee back further. So curl your toes and just help yourself step back a little bit more. And we'll hold a lunge here. So you can stay up on your hands as I am right now. Or you can start to walk your hands further out in front of you to lower yourself down deeper. So your shoulder comes down inside your knee. And maybe you can even sink down further, further, further. Maybe I'm coming onto your elbows. If you kind of feel like you're down there close enough, you can use blocks or books to kind of build yourself up here. If you want to kind of like, I'll show you with a block. Here's some I have to hand. So you can always kind of build yourself up. So blocks, books, whatever you have, whatever you need. Otherwise, just use your hands and don't go as deeply. Try and keep the hips level. So if you feel you're sinking over to the right, press firmly down in through your right foot. So big toe. If you find your big toes lifting, press down into the big toe. Bring the knee in. And again, try and maintain stable hips as much as possible. Okay. Right, we're going to start to, if you're down on your elbows or anywhere near there, you should go up onto your hands again. Walk yourself back and we'll start to sink the hips back as we straighten the right leg. And we'll just bow over that right leg in a straight position. So get a good stretch into the hamstrings. Really draw your toes back towards your shin to really stretch into the calf, into the hamstrings, flexing the foot. Tighten up the quads, so again you feel like the kneecap lifting up, and it will help to protect and strengthen the knee joint. Hold it here. And then on your exhale you can come back down. And we'll take a twist. So just wiggle your foot back, come to more central position, hands either side of the foot. And then we'll take our left down to the ground and we'll reach our right arm up. And look up towards that hand. Sink the hips down. Open the chest back. Reach. Tighten in the tummy. Strong at the core. Exhale. Bring the hand down. We'll lift the left knee off the ground, lift the hips a bit, and then slide the right foot back so you're in downward facing dog. We'll just take a couple of breaths here. It's a kind of nice symmetrical pose. We've been working one side. So this is, as one teacher I go to calls this the sorbet, the little palate cleanser between sides. A nice symmetrical pose, equal weight on both hands, both feet, and a nice stretch up through the side. Okay, let's drop the knees and we'll do the same on the other side now. So I'll just spin myself around so you can see that other side. So left knee is going to lift up now. So we're doing our circles first. So ground down. You can keep, if you feel you're more stable with your right foot flattened like this, ankle pressing to the ground, great. If you feel you need to tuck your toes to get that stability, do. That's all fine. Again, we're trying to keep the hips level, to try not to lift the left hip up and sink over to the right too much. And then we're out to the side, towards the elbow, into the chest, and back. Out, elbow, in, and back. Core strong. Strong, so really lift the knee out as much as you can, especially to get that strengthening into the glutes. One more in that direction. And then change direction into the chest, elbow out, up, into the chest, towards the elbow, out, up, to the back, and in. One more. And down. Oh, sorry, no, we're not. Hug it into the knee, the chest. Step it forward. Again to our lunge. So again, you can either wiggle the foot forward or wiggle the right knee back. Either way, we're taking a bigger stretch in the distance between that foot and that knee. So whichever way works for you. Take your left hand to the inside of your left leg, if it's not already there. And then just start to settle into the lunge on this side. Notice the difference between these hips, if one is tighter than the other, and it's not unusual for that to be the case. But don't worry if you're finding one side much tougher than the other. That's perfectly normal in our habits, posture, the way we carry ourselves, the way we carry our children, the way we carry our handbags. Everything, shoulders, hips, all bearing the brunt of those habitual weights. Okay, sinking yourself down maybe a little bit more for the last couple of breaths. And then coming into that hamstring stretch, so feeling the sole of the foot off the ground, point the toes to the ceiling, straightening the left leg, walking your hands back, and this can be inside or outside the leg, whichever feels more comfortable for you. Leveling your hips, so again, if you feel you've sunk over onto your right hip, lift up out of the right hip, level the hips, and fold forward. And if it feels better for you to bring that leg to a more central position to help level the hips, that could be a thing too for you. And bow forward over the left leg, but try and keep your spine nice and long. So you might feel that you can't go that deep, in which case you can always come up. Again, draw the kneecap up into the quad, tighten up the quad. And maybe being upright is more appropriate for you. Okay, let's roll back. Take the twist. The right hand on the ground, left arm reaching up. Sink the hips down. Open the chest, draw the left arm back as much as you can, maybe look up. That's okay in your neck. Okay, exhale, hands down. We're going to step to downward facing dog. Again, stretching it out. And this time we're going to walk our hands back to our feet so that we are at the back of our mat. And we're going to roll up to standing. So, again, this is the next thing is a sequence that I did in a class recently. A kind of a mixed level class, so it's suitable for all stages. Kind of as a nice kind of warm up flow that isn't as strenuous as a full sun salute. So you'll be glad to hear there's no plank, no chaturanga, but we're building in a few squats so that we can work into the hips. So we'll start with feet hip distance at the back of the mat. Tighten up the legs, tighten up the tummy, lengthen your spine as always for Tadasana. Roll the shoulders back and down. On your inhale, reach up, look up. On the exhale, bring your hands back behind you, interlace the fingers, stretch the arms back. See if you can straighten the arms. Open the chest, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Exhale, release. And start to curl yourself forward, roll yourself forward. You can walk yourself down your legs towards the ground. Soften your knees if you need to, but we've done quite a bit of hamstring stretching, so hopefully you're feeling okay there, but if you still need to bend the knees, do. Now we're going to start to walk our hands forward to downward dog. So kind of just nice, pad them along the mat. I always think of like the big paws of a lion here. Walk through the lioness. Into downward dog, and then you're pushing your hips up and back. Lengthen out. Take a couple of breaths here. Looking back to your thighs. Feet still hip distance. Heels melting towards the floor. Perhaps you're seeing how you feel in the calf muscles. And then gently start to walk your feet towards your hands. Bring the feet together when they get there. Bend your knees. Try and keep your heels down on the ground and sit into a squat. You might not be able to get all the way down into a full squat like I am if your heels want to come up. So rather than lift the heels, take a less deep squat. Then wherever you're in your squat, reach your arms out in front. Interlace the fingers and gun out your index fingers. Draw your shoulders down and in. Tighten your tummy. And we're going to lift onto our tiptoes, straighten the back as much as possible. Tighten the tummy. Great, balance. And then hands down, stay on your tippy toes. Stretch into a forward fold on your tiptoes. Deeper stretch for the legs. Now, flatten your hands. Walk back to downward dog. Stretch it out. One more breath here. Walk your hands back, tuck in your tummy, really engage the core. Back to forward fold. Inhale, roll back up to standing. And that's one round completed. Let's do it again. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands behind the back, interlace the fingers. Inhale, open your chest, look up, lift into your sternum. Exhale, roll forward. Inhale, walk your hands along your mat, downward dog. Exhale, push your hips back. Lengthen your spine, lengthen your arms, lengthen into your heels. Now, next inhale, start to walk your feet towards your hands. Feet together. Sit down into your squat, Hasasana squat. Heels on the floor, hands in front, index fingers pointing. Feel a bit Charlie's Angels here. Draw the shoulders down, draw the tummy in. Come up onto your toes. Straighten your back. Hold for a breath or more. Hands down. Lift into a forward fold on your tippy toes. Start to walk your feet back to downward dog. Stretch heels towards the floor again. Press your chest back towards your thighs. And then walk your hands back to the back of the mat, to your feet. Fold in. Inhale, start to roll up. And another round complete. Let's do one more. We're going to vary the squat a little bit. So inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands back. Interlace the fingers. Inhale here. Exhale, roll forward. Inhale, pad forward into downward dog. Maybe you'll take your dog a little deeper this time. So further away from your feet your hands go, the deeper your downward dog goes. One more breath. Inhale, walk your feet forward. This time we're going to take our feet wider. So as wide as your hands or even wider again. Turn your toes out. Sit down to a deeper, wider squat into the hips. This time we'll bring our hands into prayer and press our elbows into our inner knees. So it looks like this. Lift your chest towards your thumbs. Draw your thumbs down towards your chest. Hold this one for a few more breaths. And again, we're bringing our hands to the ground. Come onto the tippy toes. Stretch up. Fold in. Heels down. Walking back, downward dog. Walk your hands back to your feet. Tuck in your tummy. Fold in. Roll up, inhale. And we're done. Let's bring ourselves down to sitting. Bring us to face you. And we're going to take a seated position with wide legs for Upavista Konasana shape. Sit up nice and tall. So it's a good idea to bring your hands behind your back to get right onto your sit bones. Good time to get a sip of water. It was a nice kind of easy flow, but it still makes you work, doesn't it? There's walking to downward dog, walking back. Gets the heat up. So engaging the legs, see if you can let go of your hands without sinking back, without collapsing really into your lower back. So if you can stay on your sit bones without your hands, actually we'll leave our hands here. We'll leave our hands here for the moment. We're going to just work on internally rotating at the hip. So bringing your feet in, big toes towards the floor. Don't worry about getting them to the floor. That's our internal rotation with the legs and the hips. And opening out. So baby toes come towards the floor for an external rotation in the hips. So if you want, you can place your hands here if that means you don't collapse. So you can take your hands away from the floor, so hands to the inner thighs. Roll in, the hands push down, inner thighs move down. Opening out, inner thighs kind of lift up, rolling out. Exhale in. Inhale out. Okay, so that's just kind of movement, strengthening movement in the hips, and also just that awareness of in and out. Bring your feet to a neutral position so toes point directly up. Hands come to the ground in front of you, and we're going to take a gentle forward fold. And here, it always makes me very aware of the effects of tight hamstrings on the hips. If your hamstrings are tight, they're going to be pulling your into the back chain of muscles into the pelvis. So it'll bring a posterior tilt into your pelvis. So that's what makes folding forward much harder if the hamstrings are tight. So it's a really good idea, if that's a thing that you're finding, to take some time as often as possible to stretch out those hamstrings. Forward folding, lying on your back with your belt, any of those options that we do on a regular basis. Now gently come up. And we're going to walk our hands, we're going to twist and turn towards the right foot, which to you will look like this one here. And we're going to walk over towards the right foot. If you're flexy enough, you can take your hand to your foot. If not, just let your hands rest either side of the leg or on the leg itself, whichever feels. I like the floor because I kind of feel like I'm getting a grip with my hands to draw myself round further, so this left side rib cage is going to kind of turn to look in the direction of the foot, and I'm getting, you know, a nicer stretch through the side here. Easy, just another breath. Now we're going to walk in an arc towards the left foot. So walk out in front, all the way around to the left foot, keeping that forward folding action, and bring your hands down either onto the ground or onto the foot, wherever you feel like you're getting kind of the resistance you need to draw yourself deeper into that. Again, you want your right ribs coming round, get that twist through the torso, look at the left foot, and ease into a forward fold. Try and keep your right hip bone down if that feels like it's lifting. And walk your hands back in towards you so that you can come back to a seated position. We're going to stir. So I want you to imagine that you've got a big pot, a big cauldron, you're feeling witchy. And we're going to have our arms straight, which means as we stir, to get your spoon all the way in towards you, you have to move your shoulders back, your torso back, so which means you have to really engage your core, a little bit like the boat. So let's roll forward, round, stirring that big cauldron. Try not to let the shoulders hunch though, keep them down, forward, back, core strong, forward, around, back. One more like that. And change direction. Left first, right, back, core strong, forward, around, back, left, forward, right, back. One more, left, forward, back, and release. Let's take our legs together. We're going to bend the right knee and bring it over the left. So a little bit different to what we do normally. So we're going to get this foot to point out to the side and see if you can get your right knee stacked right up on top of the left knee, if that's possible for you. So it means quite a stretch through the outer hip here and rotation at the same time. So see how that feels for you. Keep both sit bones on the mat, nice and heavy, both down, pelvis nice and neutral and even. Then we're going to reach up and exhale to fold forward if that feels okay. If that feels too much, stay in an upright position. So this is half Gomukhasana, which is the cow-faced pose. Inhale, engage your core, rise up, and release your hands. Okay, unravel this right leg from on top of the left. Bend in your left knee, Take your foot out to the side, point the toes away from you down along your mat, really, or to the side of your mat, whichever way on your mat you're positioned. Your knee is kind of somewhat in line with the knee on the bottom, so left knee over right knee. If you can even pull this over further, and then you'll start to, sure. Try and level both sit bones. So if leveling the sit bones is difficult and one is risen significantly, again, sit yourself up on blocks or books, anything that will level those sit bones, just to kind of keep the pelvis nice and neutral. When our pelvis is at a tilt and we're folding forward, then what we do is we put pressure into the lower back. So you want to try and maintain that nice even position to fold forward from. Okay, so gently either reach up and fold, or you can walk your hands gently forward and fold. So this just adds a little extra work when we reach up and fold straight on, straight back. And my feet will come out of view. Okay, inhale, reach up. Exhale, release. Okay, let's see if we can unravel, first of all, see if we can do the full variation of Gomukhasana. So this time, we're going to bend the right knee. We're going to bring the left in underneath. So that left leg will be in the same position it was, but underneath the right leg. So the foot's pointing out to the side. We're not going to sit on that foot, it's going to be beyond the hip. So when we sit down, the heel is just kind of grazing your outer hip, so barely just kind of touching there. The top foot is going to try and do the same on the other side. So it's, again, stacking knees, one over the other, wiggling this foot out to the side. Ah, can you feel that in your hips? I can. I do love it though. It's one of those good stretches. Now, there's difference between a good stretch and a bad stretch. This is it's intense, but it's a nice sense of intensity. For me, okay, and this is all very personal. So if it feels very intense, you can come back to the original half Gomukhasana, or you can sit up on books to alleviate some of the strain if you're feeling it's just too much strain for you. Then you can stay seated, or actually today we can take a diagonal stretch. So actually let's go with the opposite arm to what's on top here. So right arm is on top, so we'll reach our left arm up. Reach back, see if you can get your fingers to hook with one another. Otherwise you can use your belt or just grab your t-shirt. We're not going to stay here for very much longer. Got it. Open up. Lift into the chest. One last breath. And exhale, release. You're watching this on playback, you can pause that and stay there for as long as you like. Work down into those hips. Unravel your legs. Okay, we'll go to the other side. So let's get the right leg in underneath this time. So wiggle it out to the side. And at that point, before you go with the top leg, just try and level the hips. So just get that foot into position as much as possible. Let's wiggle. Cross over, first of all, the left over the right, and then see about getting both feet almost, and as well, see if you can get them level so they're in line with one another, straight out to the sides. Now, right, release my knee down on top of my other knee a little bit more. Play with it. Okay, feel the hips. Reach up with the right arm, bend the elbow, reach round, and again, rotate, internally rotate. The same way we're doing the hips in the shoulder, bring that around, bind it with your top hand, open your chest, lift into your sternum, tighten in your tummy. Each exhale, feel yourself sinking, we're letting go in those hips. And then release. Let go. Well done. Unravel. That's quite an intense one. Let's bend the knees and we'll windscreen wiper them just to kind of really, as a kind of a, like again, that sorbet idea. Wash it out. Rolling. So when you know goes to the right, your left leg is internally rotating, your right leg is externally rotating. And we'll go to the other side to reverse that. So you just do it a couple of times. And back to center. Okay, let's stay with the core. We haven't done much, a huge amount of the core today. So we're going to stay with feet on the ground, lifting and lengthening through the back. And today we're going to ease back, but keep the core really strong. So abdominals engaged, back straight. That's how you're going to strengthen the back. Just keep it straight. Back, inhale up. Exhale. Inhale up. You're feeling your seat, that you're starting on your sit bones, but you're coming towards your tail, but try not to land down on the tail too much. Inhale, come up. Keep your back straight, core or abdominals strong. Back. Inhale up. Exhale back. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale up. Exhale back. Sink it back a little deeper. Actually, let's come all the way onto our lower back. So roll yourself down into the lower back, but keep the upper back lifting. Hold it here. 5, 4, 3, 2, squeeze in the belly. 1, and release. Let's bring the soles of the feet together and let the knees open out. Maybe place your hands on your inner thighs, just act as a tiny little extra weight to encourage the legs down. But if that feels too much, just let your hands rest down by your side or on your belly. And we'll ease ourselves towards Shavasana. And then we're going to close the knees. And we're going to take the feet as wide as the mat. Last twist. So take the arms out wide, maybe into cactus, maybe straight. And we're going to drop the knees to the right. Again, it's like that, what we just did with the knees wide, internal, external rotation. If you like, you can place your right foot on top of your left knee and draw it down a little bit deeper. If that feels like something you need, if you do not need extra, and you want to go easy, you just let your knees soften themselves without extra pressure or extra help. If you like, you can turn your head to the left. Continue that kind of twisting chain up through the spine to the neck. And inhale, come up, head to center, knees to center. Exhale, knees to the left, head to the right. You want to go the extra mile, you bring your left foot onto your right knee, and you draw it down. Again, it's that kind of stretch through the outer hip, outer waist. Maybe you'll feel it into the groin. I guess I feel it into the groin a little bit here as well. That internal rotation. Now release your foot from your knee if it's there. Inhale, head back to center, knees back to center. Stretch out your legs wide. Let your toes turn out. Let your legs relax and roll out naturally. No force. Hands down by your sides, palms facing the ceiling, shoulder blades flattening into the ground. Neck long, so chin tucked very slightly. No, again, no major effort, no strain. Everything here is about softness. This is Shavasana. This is about ease and stillness. And it's hard to be still if you're uncomfortable. So make yourself comfortable. And if the work today into the hips hopefully has released, allowing you to lie flat, but if you still feel that, if you have issues with your sacroiliac joint, sacrum, lower back, and if bending your knees is kinder to your body, then of course feel free to bend your knees. And if you want to help that sense of ease and relaxation, you can let the knees fall in against each other to support each other. Or you can place cushions or bolsters or blankets, rolled up blankets or anything under your knees just to elevate the knees a little to allow the back to soften. Because if you have a very deep lower back arch naturally, then lying here like this can be very uncomfortable. So just make it comfortable. If you need to rest your head on a cushion, feel free to rest your head on a cushion. Whatever you do, be soft, be relaxed, be comfortable. Soften your jaw, soften your face. And just give a little time in your mind to your hips that you've worked hard today, all the muscles supporting, connecting the hips. And allow them to soften, settle, absorb all the work that you've done. Return to the awareness of your breath. And just watch the natural, steady flow of the breath. And we'll leave you here. Feel free to stay in your Shavasana for as long as you like or as long as you need. Thank you very much for joining me today, for practicing with me. Namaste.